Programming is a valuable skill in today's digital age, with numerous applications across various industries. However, for beginners, diving into the world of coding can be intimidating and challenging. Making mistakes is an inevitable part of the learning process, but some common pitfalls can be avoided with proper guidance and awareness. In this comprehensive guide, we will explore the top beginner programming mistakes and provide actionable advice on how to avoid them. So if you are ready, let's start today's video. By understanding these common errors and implementing best practices, aspiring programmers can accelerate their learning curve and become more proficient developers. 1. Lack of planning. One of the most common mistakes beginners make is diving straight into coding without adequate planning. Planning involves understanding the problem, breaking it down into smaller tasks, and devising a strategy to solve it. Skipping this crucial step often leads to inefficient code and wasted time. How to avoid it? Take time to understand the problem thoroughly before writing any code. Break the problem into smaller, manageable tasks. Create a rough outline or algorithm to guide your coding process. Consider edge cases and potential pitfalls before starting to code. 2. Ignoring documentation. Many beginners overlook the importance of reading and understanding documentation. Documentation provides valuable insights into programming languages, libraries, and frameworks, helping developers utilize their full potential. Ignoring documentation can lead to inefficient code, missed opportunities, and frustration. How to avoid it? Make it a habit to read the official documentation of the programming language and tools you are using. Refer to documentation regularly to understand function parameters, return values, and usage examples. Explore community forums, tutorials, and guides for additional insights and best practices. 3. Fear of failure. Fear of failure is a common barrier for beginners in programming. Many aspiring developers hesitate to experiment or try new things because they are afraid of making mistakes. However, failure is an essential part of the learning process and should be embraced rather than feared. How to avoid it? Accept that making mistakes is normal and part of the learning journey. View failures as opportunities to learn and improve your skills. Experiment with different approaches and solutions, even if they might not work initially. Seek feedback from peers, mentors, or online communities to learn from your mistakes. 4. Overcomplicating solutions. Beginners often fall into the trap of overcomplicating solutions to programming problems. They may try to implement complex algorithms or use advanced techniques without fully understanding the problem at hand. Overcomplication not only makes the code harder to maintain but also increases the likelihood of bugs and errors. How to avoid it? Strive for simplicity and readability in your code. Break down problems into smaller, manageable components. Use built-in language features and libraries whenever possible instead of reinventing the wheel. Refactor code regularly to remove unnecessary complexity and improve clarity. 5. Copy-pasting code without understanding. Copying and pasting code from online sources without understanding how it works is a common pitfall for beginners. While it may seem like a quick solution, it hinders learning and prevents developers from gaining a deeper understanding of programming concepts. How to avoid it? Resist the temptation to copy and paste code without understanding it. Take the time to analyze and dissect code snippets line by line. Experiment with small modifications to understand how they affect the overall behavior. Rewrite code in your own words to reinforce understanding and retention. 6. Poor naming conventions. Choosing meaningful and descriptive names for variables, functions, and classes is essential for writing clean and maintainable code. However, beginners often use generic or cryptic names that make the code difficult to understand and maintain. How to avoid it? Use descriptive names that convey the purpose and functionality of variables, functions, and classes. Follow naming conventions recommended by the programming language or community. Avoid single-letter variable names or abbreviations unless they are widely understood and commonly used. Refactor code to improve naming clarity whenever necessary. 7. Neglecting error handling. Error handling is a critical aspect of programming that beginners often overlook. Failing to anticipate and handle errors can result in unexpected behavior, crashes, and security vulnerabilities in your code. How to avoid it? Identify potential sources of errors in your code, such as user input, file operations, or network requests. Implement robust error handling mechanisms, such as try-catch blocks, to gracefully handle exceptions. Provide informative error messages to help users understand and troubleshoot issues. Test your code under different error conditions to ensure robustness and reliability. 8. Lack of version control. Version control is essential for managing changes to your code base, collaborating with other developers, and tracking project history. However, many beginners neglect to use version control systems like Git, leading to confusion, lost work, and inefficiency. How to avoid it? Learn the basics of version control systems like Git and GitHub. Initialize a Git repository for your projects and commit changes regularly. Use meaningful commit messages to document changes and facilitate collaboration. Learn common Git workflows and best practices for branching, merging, and resolving conflicts. 9. Not testing code. Failure to test code thoroughly is a common mistake that beginners make. Writing tests helps ensure that your code behaves as expected and prevents regressions when making changes or refactoring existing code. How to avoid it? Adopt a test-driven development (TDD) approach by writing tests before implementing code. Use testing frameworks and libraries to automate the testing process. Write unit tests to verify the behavior of individual components and integration tests to test interactions between components. Run tests regularly and incorporate them into your development workflow to catch errors early. 10. Giving up too easily. Programming can be challenging, especially for beginners facing steep learning curves and complex concepts. Many aspiring developers give up too easily when they encounter difficulties or setbacks along the way. How to avoid it? Stay persistent and resilient in the face of challenges and setbacks. Break down problems into smaller, more manageable tasks to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Seek help and guidance from online resources, tutorials, forums, and communities. Celebrate small victories and milestones to stay motivated and focused on your goals. Conclusion. By recognizing and avoiding these common beginner programming mistakes, aspiring developers can accelerate their learning journey and become more proficient programmers. Embracing a growth mindset, seeking feedback, and continuously honing your skills are essential habits for success in the ever-evolving field of programming. Remember that making mistakes is inevitable, but learning from them is what ultimately leads to mastery and expertise. So keep coding, keep learning, and never be afraid to push your boundaries. This comprehensive guide covers the top beginner programming mistakes and offers practical advice on how to avoid them. By following these tips and best practices, aspiring developers can navigate the complexities of coding more effectively and accelerate their journey towards becoming proficient programmers. That's all for this video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell for more content, so you don't miss any upcoming video. And, if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring and keep coding. Thanks for watching, and happy coding.